Let's talk about leadership lessons for kingdom problems. Let's talk about the principles that are needed to deal with kingdom problems. There are always going to be problems that you're going to face in the kingdom, always going to be problems that you're going to face personally, always going to be problems that are out there. Don't ever think that problems are going to go away, but know that there are some leadership principles and lessons that you can apply to overcome the problems. Good morning, everybody. It's time for Morning Manna, and got a word for you on this morning. Want to get right into it this morning. How many of you got a problem you want to solve? How many of you got a problem you want to solve? Yes, no, put it in the chat area. Got a problem you want to solve? You know what, Bishop, this thing is just perplexing me. I cannot figure out how to solve it. Understand this: you don't have a problem that leadership can't solve. I really believe that God calls all of us to be leaders in any room we find ourselves in. So this morning, I want to just share a principle or two as how to overcome the problems that you might be dealing with. Here is the text to talk and the takeaway in 5 minutes or less. Let me give it to you right now. Proverbs 16:10. Proverbs 16:10, the Message Bible. This is what it has to say about leadership. A good leader motivates, doesn't mislead, and doesn't exploit. A good leader motivates. That's what I want you to focus in on. A good leader motivates. And that also has to do not only with others, but oneself. So there's three things that I want to share with you with respect to this text in applying the principles of how do I deal with problems from a leadership point of view. Let me say it to you again before I get into these three principles. Please know that you don't have a problem that leadership can't solve. And more often than not, your problem is a result of lack of leadership, maybe even within yourself. The first thing I want to share with you is, as a leader, understand this: follow rules or set standards. Follow rules or set standards. Every time you walk by a problem and do nothing about it, you set a standard. When I was in the military, for the first 9 years that I was in the military, before I became only one of three chaplains to transition from being a regular officer, a line officer, as they would say, a support officer, into being in the chaplaincy corps, we there was a thing that would always come up, and I remember this, and I was a stand eval officer in my job prior to being a chaplain. In other words, my job was to make sure that the unit that I was in was applying or carrying out the standards and the regulations of that particular unit. Call it the stand eval officer. In other words, there's a standard that should be set. And as a leader, you either see the rule that solves the problems or set a higher standard that gets you through it. So the second thing is this: understand that change and challenges are growth opportunities. We really don't like change. We really don't. We really are more routine, rut kind of people more than you would think. You sit in the same seat when you go to church. You go the same way to work. You lay out your day very similar. We don't really care for change. And when change comes, we need to understand that it's actually a challenge for growth. Challenge and change is opportunities to grow. And as a leader, please know that when you're confronted with things, understand this is really an opportunity for me to grow and lead the way in the growth. Here's the third thing I want to share with you: the price of the problem is not equal to the lesson that you're going to learn from the problem. You remember the signs that you were doing in math? It was this way was something that was less than, this way was greater than, and then you have the equal with the slash and said it's not equal to. Please understand something. The price of the problem is never, ever greater than the lesson that you're going to learn from the problem. What's your takeaway this morning? Your takeaway is this: as a kingdom leader, every time you face a problem, it's an opportunity to lead. Every time you face a problem, it's an opportunity to lead. In other words, lead, follow, or get out of the way. The Lord be with you today. May His face shine upon you and give you peace. I'll see you tomorrow morning with more Morning Manna. Don't keep this to yourself. Share it. If it bless you, bless somebody else. Bye now.